Chiefs, Chargers, Thursday Night Football, $1 million up top. Literally can't get any better. These are my favorite type of showdowns to play. The ones where it should be a shootout. There should be a lot of points scored. I love these showdowns as opposed to the showdown like we had tonight, which we'll recap in a sec. But if you guys are a first-time viewer, welcome. My name's DK. I do cover content for Draftkings and for Prize Picks. Again, we'll be talking about Thursday Night Football in this video. If you guys are looking for more in-depth content, though, you can check out my Patreon linked down below. Also, Prize Picks is the sponsor of today's video. You can check them out and use my code DKDFS for a 100% match up to $100. Player prop site. I'll also have some content out for Prize Picks, whether it be on YouTube or on Twitter. But, all right, let's recap tonight. So, weird slate. Right? Weird slate. I basically broke even in everything. So I made a couple bets actually because I thought the lines were too low on the Seattle receiving lines. It was 6.5 for Penny. I took the over that hit. I also took the over on Homer 8.5. And that was just so frustrating because even on DFS too, the Homer faders got really bailed out. Homer was the passing down back. He was in on all like the third down, third and long plays, even some other passing down situations. And just Geno never looked his way. He was open so much. But you look on the Denver side, their running backs had like 20 catches. It's like just all I needed was like 1 or 2 catches to Homer. Very frustrating because he was pretty low owned and he was open a lot. And he did have 1 catch called back too. It was like a penalty. So frustrating for sure. But so at last second, I decided to throw a lineup in there in the cash games just because I was like, I don't know. I didn't feel good about it. I was like, screw it. I'm just going to make a cash game lineup. This was my cash game lineup. Entered it in the Millie Maker as well. Russ Wilson, captain, with Sutton, Geno, Judy, McManus, and Homer. It was a tough one for cash games for sure, but I easily cashed in cash as well as in the Millie Maker. These are my 2 GPP lineups. I did go Homer in the captain. Like I said, he was open a lot and out there. Geno just never looked his way. So all I needed was like 1 catch here. I probably would have gotten the cash, but I did. This was a lineup where I left a lot of salary on the table, left like 4,000 on the table. Went with the Denver stack with Homer and the captain. This one, basically almost the same, but I used Lockett instead of Alberto. So yeah, that was the look back. Also, I mean, some of these coaches. Whew. Pete Carroll, I mean, number one, is idiotic to challenge that play that were a spot call, right? Those literally never get overturned. And then Denver coach, Nathaniel, was it Hackett, whatever his name is? I mean, I'm going to be honest, he deserves to be fired for what he did today. That was just horrific time management. Absolutely awful. Yeah, just some very questionable coaching decisions there in that game tonight. But yeah, so that was the recap of everything for myself. Hope you guys had a good night. And also, we're just back to last year where all the third string tight ends, they're just going to score. Like, what is it? Someone explain it to me with the backup and third string tight ends on the primetime games. I was 1 game early. I played Jake Ferguson last slate at no ownership. Got a ton of snaps. No way. No catches for him. This game, literally all the second and third string tight ends like scored. You don't understand it. I really don't. But yeah, let's take a look at the Vegas odds here, then we can get into the player-by-player breakdown. So as I said, I am really excited for the showdown, which means I'll probably lose everything. But 54.5 over under, 4-point spread. The Chiefs are favored by. Yeah, it should be a good one. All right, let's start with the Chargers here. And at the top, we have Justin Herbert, 11-2. Now, pricing is a little bit tough. There's not a lot of great value on the slate, so you're going to have to make some tough calls with some of these top-end guys. You know, we have Herbert, we have Eckler, and the opposite side, you have Mahomes and Kelsey. Can't play all those guys. So like I said, you might have to fade one of the quarterbacks in the showdown slate. I think you can play them both if you want to, but you're going to have to make some tough calls with these guys at the top. So Herbert, I would assume he'll probably be a bit lower owned than Mahomes. For that reason, I actually prefer Herbert to Mahomes and GPPs, just because I think the ownership will be a bit lower. Herbert's similar to Mahomes, like not really known for rushing, but can get you, 20 yards or so on the ground. So I like Herbert. I think he'll be lower owned than Mahomes, and for that reason, I slightly do prefer him actually in GPPs to Mahomes. Going down a bit more, so Eckler's at 10-2. I think right now, from what we saw last game, he's more of a tournament play, and the reason I say that is because of the snap counts for Eckler. So Austin Eckler played, I have it up here on the other screen, 33 of the 67 snaps. So basically 50% of the snaps. That's not good, right? That's not what we want for Austin Eckler. They played Sony Michel 16 snaps. They played Joshua Kelly 18 snaps. So they utilized 3 backs, which is, again, not ideal. We want Eckler in that like 65 to 70% of the snap range. Now, things could change, right? This is a big game against Kansas City. Maybe they get bumped up, which is why I think he's a solid GPP play. Maybe not a cash play just because of the snap count for him last game. But yeah, like his ceiling. Again, Keenan Allen not expected to play. Eckler very much involved in the passing game. We know DraftKings is a full point PPR. The only downside is just the amount of snaps he played week 1. But I do think they could go up. Like I said, I do think they do. Like, all right, let's just say this. If I knew Austin Eckler was playing 65, let's just say if I knew Austin Eckler was playing 70% of the snaps for this game, I think he would be for sure in play for cash games. But yeah, the snap counts just makes him a little bit risky from what we saw last game. I think Keenan Allen, I would be pretty surprised if he plays. He was a non-participant on Monday. What I've seen, I would assume he's out a couple weeks. And hamstrings are always tricky too, so I do not expect Keenan Allen to play. We'll talk about some value wide receivers. Now, Mike Williams will be interesting to see what his ownership is. He was not good last game. Only had 2 catches. Now, he didn't play a lot of snaps. He played, 62 of the 67 snaps. So almost 100% of the snaps Mike Williams is out there. We know he's got big play upside. A guy that can look in the red zone. So I would assume he bounces back. But yeah, I mean, if you look at the game logs, like Mike Williams, and just throughout his career, he's kind of been a boomer bust player. So like started the year off really strong, on the road against Kansas City week 3 had 36 fantasy points, 2 here, 4, 3, 7, 7, 20, 7, 29, right? So like he's up and down, but the ceiling is very clearly high. And with Keenan Allen most likely not playing, he's going to be their number 1 target when airing it out. And then we have the other wide receivers here. So Palmer and Carter. Now, Carter had a good game. He didn't play a ton of snaps, but he had three catches on 4 targets and scored a touchdown. Where Josh Palmer played more snaps, didn't do as much. I think he had 3 catches on like 5 targets. Now, looking at the snap counts for those 2 guys, you saw Palmer play 50 of the 67 snaps. You saw Carter play 25 of the 67. Now, we know Keenan Allen is a guy that, will line up a decent amount in the slot. DeAndre Carter came in and played a lot in the slot. So I would assume Carter gets a pretty significant bump there with Keenan Allen out. I think both these other wide receivers look pretty similar to me. It'll be interesting to see what the ownership comes in on them. Maybe since Carter had the good game last game, that he'll be a little bit more popular. If that's the case, I would just prefer Palmer. But they both look like solid, I guess we'll call them value plays at 5K and 4.6 respectively. And then Gerald Everett's 4.8K. He had a decent game, had 3 catches on 4 targets. And he played a decent chunk of the game as well, 44 of the 67 snaps. So didn't play like the entire game, but only 4.8K. And obviously another guy that can look to in the red zone. We need some cheap options in the slate. So these kind of secondary targets here for the Chargers are firmly in play. And then the kickers obviously are viable options as well. This game's projected to be super high scoring. So I have Anderson Hopkins. The defense is not so much, right? Chargers D, Chiefs D, not really. Also, it's interesting how over-owned the Broncos D was in tournament. They were 40% owned in the Millie Maker. Or wasn't it? It was a Millie Maker tonight. 40% owned. That's not good. Now, I had interest in the Broncos defense, but you should never play a defense at 40% ownership on a showdown slate. Never. So thankfully, the Broncos D people were punished. That is way too high of ownership in the Millie Maker. But yeah, I don't have a ton of interest in the defenses. So again, lock in a defensive touchdown for both these teams. Then these backup running backs. So Sony Michel, Josh Kelly, both got a decent amount of work. Michel had 7 carries. Josh Kelly had 4 carries. Josh Kelly had a couple catches. Again, we saw 16 snaps for Michel, 18 for Kelly. Kelly was in on, played on 11 of the 18 were passing down situations. Michelle was in a 9 of the 16 in passing down situations. So I think they're both viable options. And with Kelly being 1.6K as opposed to Michelle at 3K, I think he's going to look like the little bit of the safer option. Now, again, Michelle probably comes in a much less ownership, but I do think Kelly is the more optimal play based on what we saw last game. And then Jalen Guyton should be the number 4 wide receiver here. He didn't play a ton. He played, I think, 5 snaps. Yeah, 5 snaps, but I would expect those to go up, right? Because the starting 3 wide receivers will be most likely Mike Williams, Palmer, and DeAndre Carter. So Guyton, I do think sees more than 5 snaps, but don't expect him to play a ton. So more just a dart throw there at 1.2. I'll mention the fullback, Xander Horvath. He played 15 snaps. Again, just a large field tournament play. And we have to talk about these backup tight ends, right? Just because that's just what the primetime showdowns will do. So Trey McKitty actually had a good game. I think he had 3 catches. He played a lot of snaps. He played 40 snaps. Now, I will say, be careful here because he had 3 catches, but he played 40 snaps, which is a lot. But was only in on 13 passing plays of the 40 snaps that he played. So more of a blocking tight end based on the data. And even though he had a few catches, I don't think we can expect that type of production again from him. So maybe people will chase the backup tight end narrative and play him, but not great that, again, only 13 of the 40 snaps were passing plays. And then that's it. Richard Rodgers did play 2 snaps. But I don't really think we can go there unless something changes here. So that's basically everyone that's viable. Donald Parham banged up, not expected to play in this game either. If he does play, he would be the number 2 tight end and would actually be in play $200, but I'm not expecting him to play. Okay, on the Kansas City side, so like I said, the guys at the top look good. It's just a matter of you can't play them all, so you get on things from really tough calls. I think Mahomes will get more ownership than Herbert. Probably a little bit safer than Herbert. Again, for me, for GPPs, I do prefer Herbert to Mahomes, but you can definitely look to both. You can play them both if you want to. That's totally fine. Just gonna have to, find some cheap plays there at the bottom. And Travis Kelce, another great option, right? Had caught 8 of 9 targets for 121 yards and a touchdown. Security blanket. He's getting up there in age, but he's still performing well. And still a good option there at the top. I'm not super like the Kansas City snaps. I don't read into too much just because it was a massive blowout. Like none of the starters played at all in the fourth quarter. So Kelce only played 45 of the 70 snaps. But what I want to show you here is this. This is important because we can't look into the total snap counts for Kansas City too much last game just because how the massive blowout and none of the starters really played for at least a quarter. This is the first half snaps. So you saw a split there with CEH and McKinnon. Pacheco barely played. The wide receivers, Juju and MVS played a lot. Hardman getting very clearly the number 3 wide receiver role. A few snaps for Watson, a few snaps for Moore. And then Kelce played a ton in the first half as well. So, like Kelce, as I said, don't read too much into the total snap counts for week 1 for the Chiefs. Clyde Edwards-Helaire had a really good game. In my opinion, he's fish food for this slate, which means, again, lock him in for 2 touchdowns. But at this price point, split snaps with McKinnon, and you had Pacheco play a couple snaps in the first half, too. Yes, I know Clyde Edwards-Helaire had 2 touchdowns. At this price point, though, it's nothing more than contrarian play. Again, the reason I say he's fish food is people probably see that he scored 2 touchdowns and chase it. But, yeah, I'm not a big fan of him on this slate for that reason of he's a little bit too pricey. And the Chiefs did play 3 backs, and it was split evenly down the middle with him and McKinnon in the first half. So if you're going to play a Chiefs running back, for me, I would much rather just take the savings of McKinnon, who we'll talk about here in a bit. At wide receiver, we have Juju and MVS. We're the top 2 wide receivers. Juju at 8K, MVS at 6'4". MVS didn't do a ton. Juju much more involved, got a lot of targets. I think Juju is the safer option. We do know, though, that MVS has that big play upside, so he's still in play. I think Juju will by far be the most popular wide receiver play on the Chiefs for this slate. But again, MVS still in play. And then McCole Hardman had a decent game. They don't have his... Hold on, I'll bring it up. What did he finish with? He caught a touchdown. I definitely preferred him to Sky Moore. Another thing, I'm very happy. The Sky Moore people, everyone, and Best Ball, they were punished. That makes me really, really happy. They deserve that punishment. McCole Hardman had a solid game. What did he finish with? 3 catches on 6 targets, and he got in the end zone. And he was open a couple times on some deep balls that Mahomes missed him on. So McCole Hardman, I would say, probably the riskiest of the wide receivers. He played of the top 3. He played the least, but still firmly in play there at 5.6K, and a guy that does have big play upside, right? He's a speedster as well. Now, Pacheco, another one, in my opinion, is fish food, right? And the reason I say that is people might look at this stat line and say, oh, he's very much involved for the Chiefs. All his production basically was in the second half when the game was a massive blowout. As I said, this is very, very important. Pacheco played 4 snaps in the first half. He had like all this production when the game was out of hand, when you had all the backups in. So if CEH or Pacheco fall in the end zone on Thursday, I'm going to be on full tilt mode. So again, CEH is fish food. Pacheco is fish food on the slate. That means they're both going to score, and I'm going to lose my mind. Now, Buckner, so, I mean, keep an eye on this, right? He got banged up. He got carted off. But then he came back and actually hit a field goal. Wild stuff there. Obviously, if he plays, you can play him. If they have to sign a new kicker and they add him to the Draftkings player pool, then we can go there. But again, the kickers are in play. It's a high-scoring game, so just monitor that one. Again, I'm not really interested in the defenses on this slate either. McKinnon is by far my favorite running back play for the Chiefs. He's only 2.6K. He split snaps there with CEH in the first half. Overall snaps, you saw split 2. So 27 for CEH, 27 for McKinnon. McKinnon was in on 18 passing plays. CEH was in on 15 passing plays. Now, CEH did get more of the carries, but he's also like $6,000 more expensive, and DraftKings is full point PPR. I think McKinnon's the better pass catcher. McKinnon, only 2.6K, so he is my favorite running back player on the Chiefs. Sky Moore, 1.8. Have a hard time going there, right? He only played 6 first half snaps. Watson actually outsnapped him in the first half. So unless we get some sort of report that Sky Moore is going to play a lot more in this game, I'll probably be staying away. Ronald Jones was inactive. Fortson, backup tight end. As I said, these guys are like locks to score, but he played 24 snaps. And then Noah Gray actually played a lot of snaps. Noah Gray played 37 snaps, but he was only in on 11 passing plays, so more out there for blocking. But Noah Gray is a decent pass catcher. So if I had to take a shot in one of these backup tight ends, I actually would probably lean Noah Gray over Fortson. And then I think that's it. Let's see. Oh, where's Watson? So he's $200. He suffered a chest injury. We'll keep an eye on that. If he does miss, then that actually would make Sky Moore a little bit more viable, just because Sky Moore would probably see a majority of those Watson snaps. So, like, let's just say Watson doesn't play, then maybe Moore would have gotten 15 first half snaps instead of the 6. So that actually is somewhat significant. Keep an eye on that news. Watson, if he does play, you can use him as a punt play there. But yeah, so I think that's going to do it for the video, guys. As I said, I'm really excited for the Showdown slate. I think it's a great one. And I'm glad they have another middle maker. Hopefully they keep this going for the Showdown slates. But yeah, if you guys do enjoy, just make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. I'll have week 2 video up here for the main slate shortly, either tonight or tomorrow. So thanks again, guys. And I'll see you all in the next video.